Greetings to all of you. I can't see who's there, but thank you so much for your interest in learning about the Refreshed Incredible Years Parenting Program. I'm pleased to talk to you about it today. But first, I wanted to introduce you to somebody. Greetings to all of you, and thank you for your interest in the Incredible Years Parent Programs. Yeah, and she has a lot of cool stuff to tell you about today. Hope you like it. But now I am going to tell you a little bit about how I've been updating and refreshing the evidence-based preschool parenting program 1.0 with new videos of culturally diverse families, family structures, and addressing current issues. In this update, we filmed 12 new families capturing authentic moments in meal times and during meltdowns and throughout the incredible everyday experiences of most family life. The new vignettes, I think, really enrich the program's content with real-world examples that deepen parent learning and connection. And today I'll share just a few examples of some of the new video vignettes, as well as some of the revised instructional materials, and I'll do a brief review of the research underlying the evidence-based programs. This is a 4-minute video. I'll show you about 2 seconds of it at the beginning, but I want to encourage you to take a look at this video, which is on the Incredible Years YouTube. And it is where you will get to meet the new families in the program. And I think you will really like them. Those of you who have done the 1.0 version, many of you fell in love with the other families, and I think you have new families now to get to know.
He's hugging the dog.
Hey, do you guys want to do some drawing?
These are some rocks.
Okay, should I bulldoze them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to echo?
Oh, thank you. I reached out to someone who put me onto Incredible Years. I had to go in with an open mind. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it and learned a lot of tools, which has helped me.
So stop breaking the boxes.
One of the things that we have learned in the Incredible Years is the charts to see where your emotion is at. Naming the emotion is one of the important techniques to help them to internally label, hey, this is an emotion that I'm feeling.
It's going to make a big floss.
That gives you a little example of what you're going to see on this 4-minute Meet the New Parents videos. And you'll get to see them talking about the program themselves and their experiences with the program. Now, the question is, why? Why do we do this? Why is it important to support parents with evidence-based parent programs as early as possible? At the beginning of my career, I was often asked this question, as there was reluctance to interfere with family life or spend money on this endeavor. Young children were thought to outgrow these challenging behaviors, and there really wasn't much interest in doing this at the beginning. Since then, there has been so much brain research with young children showing the importance of parenting and caregiver responders. And I want to start with a little statement that I show on the updated parent program.
In the early years, children's brain and neuron connections are still under construction. The architecture of the brain is being stimulated and sculpted by the quality of their interactions and experiences with parents and caregivers.
We have learned that 75% of children's brain develops after birth in the first few years. Parenting approaches make a difference. And today we'll explore how some of the parenting strategies included in this evidence-based parent program can help support children's optimal brain development. And this is something we really emphasize with the parents. I've used the term research-based a few times already. Let me review what it means to be evidence-based. It means that we have at least 2 peer-reviewed and published randomized controlled trials. The word control group is essential. We have at least 1 RCT, which stands for randomized controlled trial. by an independent investigator, somebody other than the developer, and that we use reliable outcome measures, not just parent reports, but we get reports from teachers, we get independent blinded home observations, standardized measures, and that we have at least a 1-year follow-up assessment to determine the sustainability of the program. I began developing these programs in 1978, which was the basis of my doctoral dissertation. I'll have to tell you, at that time, people didn't believe that videotape group approaches could work with families, that they couldn't learn from watching other tapes. And my first study was a randomized controlled trial with middle-class families with children with borderline behavior issues. And we got several publications out of that one. And the next one was taking the program to families of children with conduct problems. And in this one, I was comparing the videotape modeling and the group intervention with what we thought was the best approach at that time, the one-on-one individualized bug in the ear parent approach. And our results, to my surprise, actually showed, and there was a control condition too, but to my surprise, the results showed that the group-based video modeling approach led to more significant maintenance results at the 1-year follow-up. The basic programs themselves over the past 3 decades at the University of Washington School of Nursing Parenting Clinic included 9 randomized controlled trials, treatment trials for children with conduct problems, and 4 prevention trials, and this was for high-risk populations. In addition, there have been at least 14 independent RCTs in over 8 countries, and there's been 2 8 to 10-year follow-ups as well to see how these children looked once they were adolescents. I'm currently involved in supporting some newer studies now where we're using our new program for parents of children with autism in United States, United Kingdom, Spain, and New Zealand. You can find our studies on our website, so we keep updating and adding to them, so take a look there. The Incredible Years parent programs are one of the most studied and proven effective programs for young children in multiple countries and cultures. The results have been robust over time. We consistently see effects in terms of improving positive and nurturing parenting and reducing harsh discipline and child disruptive behaviors, as well as increasing children's social, emotional competence and school readiness. Building on the effectiveness of the 1.0 parenting program, we have incorporated feedback from parents, group leaders, and mentors to refresh the programs for a 2.0 version of the program. New video vignettes, as you saw earlier, we have more culturally diverse families have been added, as well as addressing more contemporary issues, such as managing screen time, maintaining healthy eating habits, practicing self-regulation, navigating various family dynamics. And I'll just show you a little bit of this. One of our several of our mentors who were at a meeting where I was showing the new program to them last fall, and here's some of their
richness of the families, the cultural diversity. The video clips are going to be really well received by families. I think particularly in the UK, where we've got such a diverse population, that some of the different families that are in the videos are going to be really well received.
The vignettes, the families are kind of more in tune and more in line with parents' experiences of life with their children now.
Having such a range of different cultures would be easier to help them to take on board the material and the concepts.
So far, people are liking the program, our mentors and trainers are, so I hope you will too. We have in this program an increased emphasis on tailoring the program to family culture and structure. And I just want to show you the opening of this vignette. It is shown in the program itself. So we do, as I'll say in a minute, we do show more reflections of the parents themselves that are on the tapes. And this is a couple talking about the cultural relevance of the program.
In my parent group, we had people from Chinese culture, tradition, people, Spanish, Latin background. So there were different other cultural groups. And I did felt it was culturally sensitive because the good parts you want to keep. I think that's what I love about the curriculum and Incredible Years, that you're able to keep, you know, things that you want to keep in your tradition and culture.
How you were raised is how the next generation is supposed to be raised. And I didn't want to do that because I knew how it affected me, how it affected my friends. I now have something other than what my parents taught me or what I learned from my family. As far as parenting, I'm now creating my own list of things to do.
It's not like it's taking away anything or it's replacing anything. To me, I feel like it's adding to what you already know and just giving you more tools. And I think a lot of parents, they need that. Like sometimes you just are stuck. Because the situations that we talked about were universal, you know, it was the same. It's like your kids are fighting, they're arguing, they're whining, they're not expressing themselves. They're just screaming, you know, and having tantrums and things. We were all experiencing that. So I felt like we had a good place, a common ground. And I think that, you know, transcends all cultures, is to be able to talk to other parents who are going through similar things and have that support. Even after the program, you know, some of the parents that we recognize each other when we'd go pick up our kids and like, thank you so much for talking about such and such. I was dealing with that too.
And I will tell you that this mother says it better than mother and father say it better than I ever could. We try to keep the parts of their cultural history and background and things that they love, and then give them new options, new ways, different ways that they might want to handle their own personal goals. So that's one of the families you will see, both of them. So, you know, those of you who've done 1.0 know that the whole program is based on the collaborative process here. And this is, you know, we're culturally sensitive, where we're pulling out and addressing key principles of managing behavior or managing one's own personal responses, and setting personal goals for what we're going to do each week and what we want to achieve eventually. I'm going to show you this little puppetry thing just to show you some other ways you can use your puppets.
Okay, we talked about how the collaborative process, the aim is to make this learning fun. And one of the ways to do that is to use puppets. And so here are a couple of my puppet friends. Hi. I've been thinking about this collaboration stuff. As a puppet, what would I do? Oh, good question. Well, I think you would just ask people how they feel and maybe ask them what their ideas are. Oh, I see. Is that all it is? Just getting to know them better with my puppet? That's right. So it's as simple as that, bringing puppets in a collaborative way so the parents know how to use them to explore questions and ideas and feelings.
Okay, I wanted to show you that because oftentimes people think, well, that we have these wonderful puppets, of course, and they're expensive, that you can use anything as a puppet. In some of the tapes, you'll see me using my stapler as a puppet, but we really try to make this fun and interactive, and I'll talk a few minutes more about all the different ways we're using puppets. But we have also tried to make version 2.0 easier for the group leaders to lead discussions. So we do have built-in pauses now. Before, you used to determine them themselves, but we now have some in there with symbols to pause to guide the discussion flow. And we've updated the graphics and the visuals to make the program more contemporary and engaging. And throughout the updates, we've stayed true to the original IY 1.0 version of the original methods and processes, and preserve the flexibility, which allows the group leaders to tailor the sessions to their specific parent goals and culture. In many, many cases, leaders can choose between different vignettes to best meet the group goals. We also have manuals. They're revised to include new questions and buzzes and practices and some interactive worksheets and parent handouts for the new vignettes. What's still the same about 2.0 and 1.0? I've mentioned a couple of things, the methods and processes. The parenting sequence on the parenting pyramid is the same. The number of sessions for the high-risk families or those with children who have a diagnosis is 18 or more. For prevention, 14 sessions for those families. And we have incorporated the most popular vignettes from 1.0. So there were many vignettes people, mentors, and people loved and didn't want to lose. So we have what we call some fidelity vignettes as well from the other program. So you're familiar, the pyramid here has been updated a little bit. We talk a lot about the puzzle pieces in this pyramid. At the bottom, you can see we start with the 5 pieces of building social and emotional competence in children, and then we gradually move up the pyramid to deal with decreased behaviors we want to see less of. There are new themes integrated in all of the program parts. There are 13 different parts now, and we're going to go through a few of the new themes, but they're integrated throughout in every session. One theme is tailoring the approaches to the different children's developmental levels and temperament. This is really important. 3-year-old's really different from a 6-year-old, and their language is different. And so you will have some choices of examples of videos that give you some flexibility in choosing depending on the age of the children in your groups. We also work on teaching principles. We did that before, but now we're kind of highlighting our principles more in the sense that we can use the highlight of this principle to promote a discussion of how to use this principle at home with their own children and according to their own goals. Parent reflections. Parents and teachers have really liked these. So I have incorporated them here, just as we saw one earlier. Parents who you see on the videos with their children trying to manage certain behaviors, talking about their experiences using these skills. These are used to both illustrate successes of other parents, but also they're paused in the same way that we do to discuss the things that the parents are saying and to ask if the parents that group leaders are working with, whether they resonate with them. I mentioned the use of puppets heavily in all of the parts. We use them to promote communication and self-regulation, to learn how to calm down and problem solve. They're so effective. As Piaget said to us, this age of between 3 and 6 is pre-operational, where fantasy and reality are intertwined, and it is a great way to teach children. Parenting Toolkit, you'll be happy to know, is still there. We have the 3 posters. They've been updated somewhat. This is an example for those of you who are new to the program of one of the ones. And these are tools, examples of evidence-based parenting tools that we will explore, in this case, to build parent attachment and build positive child behaviors. There's also one of the tools has to do with parents themselves and how to help them stay calm, reduce their stress, and promote their general well-being. This is so important that we really, as much as we're talking about the children, we're talking about the parents taking care of themselves. And this can be learning to challenge their negative thoughts, stay self-regulated, needs for taking a break, problem solving, and getting support from others. So this is throughout the program something that we emphasize. I wanted to show you this as a little bit of an example of a new handout that we have. And this is where we're talking a lot about parent anger and depression and withdrawal and all the things that happens to most parents when kids are dysregulated and having challenging behaviors. So as I show this to you, I'll show you just kind of briefly how we go through that. Okay, the child's yelling or tantruming, and the parent is having some thoughts about that. And what we do is try to help the parents, basically substitute more coping thoughts for their negative thoughts. That they can reflect on the fact that the child is just testing the limit. They all do this. That our job as parent to help them stay calm, and that our child is still learning and we can help them do it. And then as they deal with managing those thoughts, they will find that they are more positive. They feel more confident about what they're doing. They may even find that they have some physiological changes, that their blood pressure isn't going up, their heartbeat isn't beating, that they're able to stay calm. And that will lead to them be able to think about what's the most effective strategy for them to use in this situation. Maybe it's modeling taking deep breaths themselves. Maybe it's redirecting the child in some way and distracting them. Maybe it's using emotion coaching. And as the parents choose what coping behavior they're going to use with their child, then we get the impact on the child themselves. And so this is powerful because this learns the child learning to self-regulate, and the child learning how to cope with their own emotions by the modeling that the parent is doing. And it's fostering a sense of security. So in the next one, I just want to show you, this is a handout that we use now where the parents can fill out some of their thoughts, or how they're changing some of their thoughts, and how they're feeling. They're feeling more confident and knowing what to do. And yes, this is a behavior that needs to be ignored. And we see the child self-regulating. In program 1, there are 5 different parts to the program. They've been separated a little more than in 1.0, going through, and I'll just tell you about a few of the changes in the different parts. So we've mentioned the diverse cultural representation, but we do have in part 2 more emphasis on multilingual language learning. That's key into the program, and ways you can do that so that the home language is being preserved as well. Also in part 2, promoting conversation skills. And when we do this, we have a new poster that we use that helps them understand the serve and return approach to conversations. And let me just show you how that looks here. So you can see here we go through with how we set up the serve with eye contact and descriptive commenting. And then in step 2, we watch and we wait and we listen. Step 3, we go through each of these steps. I'm going to show you a video that maybe demonstrates it even better. So let's do that next. This is a video. This will give you a preview of how we do a narration to introduce a concept, and then how we use an example from the family to show how it looks.
Back and forth interaction in a conversation is important for language development. For young children, it is hard to know both how to start a conversation or how to take turns in a conversation. By waiting to give children a turn to respond, you are giving them more opportunities to try out new sounds, gestures, words, or sentences. This can be called the serve and return strategy, which is similar to what the tennis players do to keep the game going.
So we would have that introduction to this idea. This was developed at Harvard. The serve and return, although ours is slightly different. But we have the conversation about that, and now we'll show them the video of a parent doing that with a child. And those of you who are new to the program, we pause the video to have discussions of what the parent's doing. I won't show all of it, but I'll just show you a bit so you get an idea.
Serve by naming what he wants, and returns his serve by accepting his nonverbal response. She continues to be patient and waits to prompt his language use so he can learn to ask for what he wants. Notice the back and forth interactions here that help him to use more language.
What do you want to do? What can you see? The cards? Do you want to have a go at the cards? Can you show me what you want to do? You can't reach them. Do you want Unaku to pass them to you? Can you use your words to ask Unaku to pass you the card?
Yeah, pause there. So you can see how the back and forth is going on and how she's encouraging him to use his words. And this is a longer vignette, but that maybe is enough for you to get an idea. And how at the very end of that, he's able asking for things that he wants in a much more confident way. We also have a record sheet here that shows parents can write down in these neurons here, but they can write in there what language words they want to do, whether it's singing or whether they want to work on naming objects or positions of things or what their goals are for the language brain connections they're trying to encourage. So just giving you some examples there. And here we are talking about reading, which comes into almost every part of the program. So we'll be teaching about interactive reading, whether you're reading to teach self-regulation skills or healthy eating habits or how to calm down, problem-solving books. It's kind of integrated throughout the program, how we can use reading to teach children. Let's show you just a little bit of an example of this.
Scuba Cat. A ver. ¿Qué dice aquí? Dice, Peter Cat is excited. He's going scuba diving. Mira el gato. Aquí hay dos gatos. Uno es el capitán.
Sí,
Y luego
es el capitán.
el capitán. Este es el capitán.
So this is a lovely example. It's longer. This is just a short bit of it. How she's reading an English book, but they're having the discussion about the scuba divers. They are in Spanish. And so we can see how we can promote that multiple languages. We also spend quite a bit of time talking more about how they can use games to promote social skills and emotion language. And some of these games were in the program before, but we have videos now of parents showing how to use them or how to use other games too, so they don't have to use necessarily these ones. I'll show you just the beginning. This is just giving you an example of an interview. But these parents have 4 children between the ages of 4 and 10. They speak 4 languages. And what they're talking about is emotion language and how effective the feeling wheel has been for trying to get their children to name their emotions. I wish I could show all of it, but show enough to just so you can see how it works.
Reflections interview, we will see this mother talking about using the emotion spinning wheel with all her children and how she learned that their temperament affected the way they expressed their emotion.
The spinning wheel emotions game was really fun to have them all kind of, demonstrate how they would express one emotion, and actually it's all different for all of them. I think that really shows us as like parents that between our kids, one emotion is going to be really expressed in one child and it's going to be obvious. And then in another one, it might be really subtle.
Nico, à toi?
Nico, brave. Show me brave. Just smile.
T'es sûr?
I think for the emotions wheel, it is really helpful to actually identify how the face, there's like a cartoon illustration with the word. And with our youngest kids, I find it to be the most helpful because they can quickly understand it. And instead of them being sort of lost in emotions, they're sort of like, oh, this is anger, this is sadness, or this is happy. I think the verbal literacy is maybe like a starting place, I guess, for them to understand and identify these very universal human emotions that everyone goes through. And I think even for our older daughter, I could see like she's embarrassed to even read the word embarrassed. Oh, that's a good one.
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Can I see your embarrassed face? Having the whole wheel shows them that every human has emotions. We go through all these emotions. It's natural. it's okay. Identifying it is part of, you know, being human, rather than being like, you should only have these emotions, these good ones, right? These are bad. I think that was good to see that there's space for them in everyone's life.
So this is a nice example of that. Have a discussion with the families about what emotion words they have or understand. And of course, cross-culturally with different languages, some words, you know, you don't even translate from English to other words. So we really spend some time on that. Now, the social skills coaching is the 5th part in Program 1. And we also target the social skills that the parents want to improve or enhance in their children. And we use a lot of puppets for modeling and prompting the social behaviors. And we have some great vignettes. This one I'm showing you the opening, but
notice what cooperative behaviors the parents model, prompt, and praise. Think of the benefits for their approach for their children's learning about family teamwork.
What are we going to build?
I think I know.
What?
So you put that. No.
Can you put this one here?
Oh, you put.
You are so excited. Okay.
No. This is supposed to be here.
Okay.
This
can we take turns? Who's going to take the...
No, the other way.
Okay, so I'm going to make like a long...
Okay, so you've already seen how they're starting out to take turns, and how the auntie is commenting on their feelings and how they're working together, and they become a family team, and they actually make a compound. So that just gives you a little taste of that. It's a beautiful vignette. Now in Program 2, we have the art of effective praising, encouragement, and incentives to motivate children. I won't show you examples of those today, I think. So we do talk about tangibles, how we use them to motivate children with more challenging behaviors or for achievement, such as perhaps toilet training or completing their household chores and responsibilities. But we do help the parents to understand how to tailor the reward systems to their children's temperament and developmental level. Program 3 is called Proactive Discipline. It has 2 parts. The first part is about establishing household rules and routines and healthy lifestyles. And the second part is about effective limit setting. So it's set up a little bit differently than 1.0. We're talking here in this about focusing on healthy lifestyles. And by that, I'm referring to regular exercise for children, their food habits, and their sleep needs. And those are some of the discussions we'll have around that. I'm just going to show you a bit of the opening of this one so you get an idea of how we approach this.
Busy schedules, peer pressure, and commercials for junk food can sometimes make getting your children to eat healthy foods a battle.
Is fruit good for your body? Yeah.
However, exposing your children as soon as possible to nutritious food choices during the day-to-day activities, like grocery shopping or when offering snacks, as well as having regular meal routines, can have a profound effect on your children's food preferences, as well as their physical health and sense of mental and emotional well-being. In the next vignette, we will see the family having dinner. Think about all the ways they are encouraging healthy eating habits, choices, and an enjoyable mealtime.
Mom, I like that leaves. I ate it.
You did? You the spinach?
Yeah, I like the spinach.
Did you like the arugula though?
I like the
I don't think she had the arugula. I think she had the spinach.
You had the spinach?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can have some. I wasn't sure if you'd like it.
Yummy.
Okay. Nice.
Love it. I want to help.
Okay, you could cut up your pork chop. That's just cutting the piece for you, honey.
Is it good?
Yeah. It's really good. Do you want some cucumbers?
Sure. It's just spicy. I want to cut.
Thanks.
Cut it.
Yeah, go ahead. Careful when you cut it.
I know how to cut it.
Good job. You're using your knife skills. Good job.
I did.
So I'll just pause it there. You can see that this is eating is fun for this family, and this little girl has given lots of choices of healthy options of what they eat. And we would discuss this, and we would discuss what parents want to accomplish during their meal times as well, and what it would look like in their home, and do lots of practices with these as well. The next one I want to show you is about discussion about household chores and predictable routines. Like, should children 4 or 5 years old have a chore? We'll have some discussions about that and what the routines are for morning or after preschool, or and the importance of having some consistency to those. And I'm going to show you an example now of a video of a mother. I'll show only just the start of it so you get a taste of it.
Previously, we saw a mother set up a chore star chart for her daughters.
Clean up. We can put double star. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Where they earned stars for things like using the potty, staying in bed, and eating vegetables.
Do you want to earn your star for that too?
Yes.
In the next vignette, we see the same mother setting up a routine chart to help her children get ready for school in the morning. Think about what is effective about the ways she engages the children in this routine plan. How might you set up such a chart?
Okay, so have you girls noticed that the morning has been really tough lately? It's been really rushed, and we've been almost late. It's really stressful, isn't it? Well, I was thinking something that we could do to help the morning go better is to have a routine. So we'll decide what we need to do, and we'll do it in the same order each time. What do you think? Would that help us? Would that be good? Yeah.
What?
Well, I'll show you. So I picked out these 4 things that we do in the morning, and I was thinking you guys could decide what order you want to put them in on our board. So what's this one?
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth. How about that one?
Eat breakfast. Get dressed.
Let's see if Lena knows this one.
Comb your hair.
Comb your hair, that's right. All right, so what do you girls think? What are we gonna do first when we wake up? What should be the first one? Because you'll be in your room. I love that idea, Lena. You both agree, okay. So.
Okay, I'll pause it there. So she gets them to establish what the routine are going to be in the program, and then the next part of this program is also she sets up a reward system for them if they do follow the routine. The next part that we talk about too, of course, rules, and in particular there's we talk about screen time rules, what they are, and then how to set limits. In this case, this vignette, just so you know about it, is about a little girl. She's 5, and one of her jobs is actually to empty the dishwasher. So we watched the way that's scaffolded and how she does the recycling. So she's learning all about recycling. It's a beautiful vignette. It's too long to show it today, but I think you'll really enjoy it. Talking about traps. So to some extent in the program, I talk about different tracks, the anger trap, or the depressed, or the giving up traps, and how we can manage those. And I'm just going to give you this so you get an idea of what the graphics look like.
Most parents fall into some traps when they set limits. The first one we're going to talk about here is what I call the anger trap. Think about what child behavior is being modeled and reinforced, and how you might handle this situation differently. So let's say you as a parent say, "Turn off the TV now, it's time for bed." And you wait 5 seconds to see if your child will comply. But the child refuses and says, "No, I won't. I'm in the middle of a show." Often, a parent gets angry at this response and may respond with, "If you don't go to bed now, you're going to be in big trouble." Oh, sure enough, the child replies by saying, "I hate you." Grudgingly, the child turns off the TV and you respond with, "Don't you ever talk to me like that again." Does this sound familiar? All right, let's think about how you could respond differently.
And so here you see one of the handouts and where there's empty spots. And so parents would break out into groups to talk about how they would respond differently to a child who refuses to turn off the TV or go to bed. And then we would act out some possible responses to that. Or maybe I'll show you the example of a parent who's turning off the screen time. And actually she's quite effective with it because she's worked on it for a long time. So let's just watch this one.
Watch now how these parents give a screen time transition warning and then follow through with their command to end their children's screen time. Think about what makes their limit-setting approach effective.
Okay, 1 minute warning. We're gonna do 1 more minute, okay? And then we'll do something else.
That's my
All
Why
right.
did you do it?
Noah, do you want to press pause?
Well, gobbles up making the town muddy would be more fun than cleaning
Do you
out.
remember how to do it?
Did everybody?
Nice job.
Work.
Okay.
What should we do? Do you want to build a marble run?
Ooh. Or do you want to do, we were going to do motorcycles. Do you want to do the motorcycle again?
Okay, I paused it there. It goes on about how they distract and redirect the kids to do something else. And it's a nice example of a clear giving of a warning and effective limit setting. And we do have some, I'll just show you this one. We do have some graphics that show.
Here is an example of effective and respectful limit setting. First, you try to...
This is what we're trying to achieve, is this kind of limit setting.
Here is an example of effective and respectful limit setting. First, you try to prompt the child that a limit is going to come up. And you can do that by saying, you've got 5 minutes left of screen time. You set your timer for 5 minutes. Since young children don't understand the concept of time, it helps to use a visual timer. You wait 5 minutes. The timer goes off, and then you say, your time is up. Please turn the screen off. Then you give your child time to comply. As often happens, your child refuses and says, I don't want to. I'm not done yet. You ignore your child's angry tone and you reply calmly saying, if you don't turn it off now, then you'll lose tonight's screen time. Your child grudgingly complies but says, that's not fair. Well, okay. Your child does turn off the screen and then you respond by saying, you made a great decision. Thanks for listening. What would you like to do now? And so you've praised your child and then redirected them to something else.
And so we would, those of you who know the program, we would do practices of how to limit set for whatever it is, whether it's turning the screen time off or doing something else that needs to be done. And how we state it in respectful ways, but we follow through and we're consistent, and how our children learn to comply. I'm going to just summarize the ending here. So up until now, we've done programs 1, 2, and 3, and we've talked about limit setting, and we've talked a lot about setting rules and routines. In the last program, we're dealing with managing misbehavior. And at this point, many children have already doing very well. But we started out with this 4-part sequence where, first of all, we work on teaching emotional regulation skills. And we have a lot of examples of that, doing that with the children, and also, other things that we can do that help children self-regulate. So we have a list of those. I might show you one vignette and then I'll stop from that. The next 2 parts are, when do we do and ignore and distract and redirect? And then what do we do if a child's destructive or is hitting other children? What is our response going to be there? And finally, ending up with problem solving, which really brings everything together again. It was at the bottom of this pyramid, but we come back to that. And by then we can really do some good problem solving because the children have learned so much. This is moving into part 2 after we've done self-regulation. And I want you to see the arc of emotional regulation that we're working on.
Children will escalate their demands, arguments, and tantrums to see if they can get their parent to back down on the limits set. If you give in to your child's tantrum, then your child learns that if they tantrum long enough, they will get what they want. Your limit setting will become meaningless if you don't follow through. If your child's tantrum is not harmful to your child or others, then you can choose to respond in several ways. First, you can try prompting your child to use some calm down strategies you have previously taught them. If your prompt doesn't work to calm the child, then next you proceed to ignore the tantrum altogether to give your child space and time to calm down on their own. Wait, stay calm, and be nearby. You can model deep breathing yourself. And then, as the child calms, you can reconnect by distracting and redirecting your child to a different activity that they enjoy. Sometimes you can use a combination of these approaches. We call this the ignore, distract, and redirect approach.
I'll just say there, I'm glad to show that one because this arc of emotional regulation is really integrated into the program, where we try to identify where the child is on the arc and what strategy we would use depending on how dysregulated they are, or whether they're so dysregulated that they just need time and space to calm themselves down. I'm going to need to stop there. I hope it gives you enough of the ideas of the new graphics that we're using, some of the new handouts, and the interviews and principles. I just want to thank everybody for getting on today. Really thanking you for your commitment to supporting these families and helping them, do the best they can and feel good about what they're doing. And I just really appreciate those of you who've been doing it already for a long time with 1.0 and any new people that we're on as well. It's a fun journey. I think you will enjoy it, and you will enjoy the videos. Will be a lot of fun to watch because some of them are quite hilarious. So thank you very much, everyone.